The wedding day was approaching when my boyfriend recommended a wedding planning company to me. I was thrilled, thinking he had done his homework to make our ceremony perfect, until I discovered that the sales representative handling our case was his first love. By closing this deal with us, she would finally achieve the performance she needed to secure a permanent position at her company. In that instant, my heart sank to the bottom. I couldn't tell whether, in spending lavishly on this wedding project, he was thinking of making our celebration flawless, or of making his ex-girlfriend's life a little easier. Chapter 1. It was the day after we signed the contract with the wedding planning company that I found out the account manager handling our order was Ryan's ex-girlfriend. I hadn't even had time to hide my lovey-dovey post behind the 3-day visible setting on WeChat Moments. Wedding prep has begun. My husband in daily life, rational spending. My husband at the wedding company, my wife deserves only the most expensive. Ugh. I really am the fool of love. I had attached photos of the top-tier wedding package, celebrity-level styling, photography, and filming, all at a jaw-dropping price. The comments section was full of envy, half praising Ryan for his wealth, half praising him for how good he was to me. I rarely shared anything personal online, let alone such a high-profile display of affection. But I guess no matter how reserved a girl is, when happiness hits you in the face, you want to show it off. Who knew the saying public displays of affection never end well would come true so quickly? In the WeChat group for wedding prep, I accidentally discovered that the sales rep, Diana, had an ID combining her and Ryan's names, like those couple handles people make when they're in love. I sent Ryan a screenshot and asked him. He admitted it right away. She was my girlfriend back in college. We broke up after graduation and hadn't talked for years. I didn't want you overthinking, so I didn't say anything yesterday. I was planning to tell you later. His voice was calm, natural. I pressed. Was there no other wedding company in the entire city? Why did you have to pick the one where your ex works? I couldn't stop thinking about the girl who had received us yesterday. Head down, speaking softly, barely selling at all, just flatly describing the packages, hardly even looking up. At the time, I thought, with a personality this dull, she'd starve in my line of work. Signing a big order like ours must have been sheer luck. But it wasn't luck. Ryan had handed her the contract with his own 2 hands. All my joy and excitement suddenly felt ridiculous. Ryan explained, almost casually, at a class reunion, someone mentioned Diana was back from abroad. She's been struggling, and after 6 months at this job, she still hadn't closed a single deal. Without one, she couldn't go permanent. Our old classmates were all wondering how to help. You can't just hand her money. But since she's doing wedding planning, they thought, why not give her business? Trouble is, no one's getting married right now. I just happen to be. So why not? This company is good enough anyway. It's work. Who cares who does it? His tone was so light, as if I were the one being unreasonable. She only took the job because she had no other choice. Luna, we're the clients here. Don't overthink it. Just take it as helping an old classmate, okay? I felt absurd, speechless. Chapter 2. I didn't know what Diana felt. Working on her ex-boyfriend's wedding, she behaved perfectly normal in the group chat, sending information, confirming details with me, never stepping beyond work topics. She even changed her WeChat ID, erasing the old couple-style handle. Everything about her was so professional, so bland, as if I were just another ordinary client. Ryan, for his part, was careful to avoid suspicion. He never posted in the prep group again and didn't come with me to the company to discuss wedding decor. So I went alone. Diana in person was the same, calm, distant, professional, until the moment we had to decide the main flower for the ceremony. Champagne roses. I said, Ryan often buys them for me. He says their meaning is, I only have eyes for you. Champagne roses? For the first time, Diana's flat tone wavered. She gave a faint, ambiguous smile. They are beautiful. I didn't think much of it at the time. Not until later, when I saw her WeChat post. After all these years, I still love only champagne roses. A sharp pain struck my chest. So that flicker in her eyes had been pride, at knowing her personal favorite had been carried forward by Ryan, repeated habitually, now given to me. I didn't confront him. Instinct told me that if I asked, I'd lose. All I knew was, I could no longer bear to see a single champagne rose at my wedding. Chapter 3. By the time I rejected Diana's wedding plan for the third time, Ryan finally took the time to join me at the wedding company to hear the proposal. Diana looked sick, pale, coughing, her words stumbling as she tried to present. She worked hard to convince me it was good, but I shook my head. It still feels like a cookie-cutter template, I said, like it could be anyone's wedding, not ours. She took a deep breath, as if suppressing her anger, shot Ryan a long look, and muttered stiffly, "Excuse me, I need the restroom." Ryan instantly tensed, eyes glued to her back, body leaning forward as if he might chase after her. In the end, he stayed seated, squeezing my hand instead. "Baby, aren't you being too picky? I thought the design looked fine." I squeezed back, meeting his eyes. "Ryan, this plan is barely worth 1/10 of its price tag. I've already lowered my expectations." "But wrong is wrong." Ryan hesitated, voice heavy with reluctance. "She's working while sick. Maybe we should just tweak it a little and settle? The wedding's getting close. If we don't finalize this now, it'll cause delays." Normally, I would have switched companies long ago. Working with someone who doesn't get me is a waste of time. So I probed carefully. "Can we split off the decor and outsource to another company?" Ryan frowned. "Of course not. That would be slapping her in the face." He added irritably, "Luna, this is what I don't like about you. You're too strict. She'll never meet your standards. Why hold her to them? We're just helping someone. Why force her to burn herself out?" My chest flared with anger. "And what about me? During project crunches, do you think I sleep more than 4 hours a night? Who isn't burning themselves out? Why is no one worried about me?" I felt both ridiculous and wronged. Who is born strong? We all survive by pushing through. Why didn't he spare me even half that sympathy? Ryan quickly softened. "Sorry, Luna. I didn't mean it like that." I forced down the sting in my nose, keeping my voice steady. "Ryan, this is our once-in-a-lifetime wedding. Your charity toward your ex has already tainted it. I will not allow any further imperfection." Chapter 4. I calmed myself alone in the meeting room, then decided, if there's no avoiding this, let's face it head on. As I walked out, I heard voices echoing from the stairwell. "I could make 10 more plans and she'd still reject them, don't you see? Your fiancé is deliberately torturing me." Diana's voice was hoarse with tears. "I have to listen to your love story, study every detail of your romance, design some princess fantasy for her. Do you know how cruel that is to me? Ryan, you're too much. You're really too much." I was furious. Her plans weren't rejected out of malice, but she painted me as the villain anyway. I was about to step in when Ryan's voice stopped me. "Luna isn't targeting you. She's always demanding, especially about the wedding. She could have refused outright. This is my fault." The heaviness in his tone pierced me. He did understand my grievances, but he was torn between us. I couldn't bear to make him suffer more. Back at Diana's desk, I opened her plan again, trying to find at least one redeeming detail. Accidentally, I clicked another file. This one stunned me. Blue-toned lighting, echoing the vibe of a bar Ryan often visited. A floral arch of champagne roses. Not my taste, but undeniably personal. Far better than any template. And then I saw the welcome sign. Groom, Ryan. Bride, Diana. So she could design something good, just not for me. Her dream wedding wasn't mine. It was hers. With him. Chapter 5. Don't look at that. Diana appeared in the doorway, tears streaking her face, fury in her eyes. Ryan froze, staring at the screen as if struck. His eyes reddened, lips trembling. Before I could react, Diana shoved me aside. My heel twisted, nearly sending me sprawling. I grabbed a chair to steady myself. She slammed the laptop shut, glaring at me. "You want to steal even this from me?" Then she shot Ryan a sorrowful look and fled with the laptop in her arms, sobbing. "Diana!" Ryan shouted, jolted awake, and chased her without hesitation. Watching his back disappear, the sharp pain in my ankle surged. I collapsed to my knees on the cold floor, staring at the blank projection screen. What was I even doing here? Ryan's phone, left on the table, buzzed. The caller ID read Sebastian, his closest friend. I picked up. "Hey." About that apartment you asked me to find for her, I found one near her office. Do you want to take a look? If not, I'll just tell her it's my relative's place and needs a tenant. That way she'll feel comfortable moving in. That dorm she's in now? With all those cargo trucks and exhaust fumes? No way she should stay there. My chest tightened. That unlivable place? I had lived there too. During my first 2 years after graduation, no one pulled me out of the smog. I clawed my way out on my own. But Ryan? He couldn't bear for her to endure it another month. He found her a way out, wrapped in excuses, delivered on a silver platter. His coldness toward her in front of me was only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath, he cared for her deeply. And me? In his eyes, I was strong, dignified, unshakable, so strong that even my wedding could be sacrificed as a favor to someone else. I could hardly breathe, sorrow choking me. Sebastian sighed on the line. It's not easy. I know. She's been with you for years. If it weren't for your parents' objections, you know the one marrying Ryan today would have been her. Is that so? I whispered with a trembling laugh. Thank you for telling me. Chapter 6. By the time Ryan rushed home that night, I had already quit the wedding planning group. One staff member asked if I had left by mistake. No, the wedding is off, I replied. They didn't dare say more. Probably went straight to Ryan. At home, I rummaged through drawers until I found our housing contract. I sat there for an entire afternoon, seriously considering how to divide the apartment we'd bought together. The more I thought, the harder it became to breathe. When Ryan came in and saw the contract on the table, he froze. He quickly snatched it up before coming over to hug me. It's not that serious, Luna. Really it isn't. If you don't like that company, we'll change to another. Don't listen to Sebastian's nonsense. Don't care what Diana thinks. You're the only one I want to marry. This time it's my fault. I didn't think it through. Don't be angry. Don't act on impulse. After all these years, it's not something we can just throw away overnight. I stayed silent, my eyes drifting to the balcony flowers. At first, when Ryan gave me seeds and little plants, I refused. I'd even killed a cactus before. How could I care for these? But he promised to take care of them. Every weekend he came to water, fertilize, chat, cook, brew coffee. Somewhere along the line, he became the warmth between my long hours, the quiet pause of coffee in a suffocating routine. The day the flowers bloomed, I agreed to be with him. That night, under silver moonlight, his breath pressed against mine, whispering forever. I believed his love back then, and it was real. But Diana's return blinded him to me just as truly. Even now, when he noticed my swollen ankle, his eyes filled with concern. How did you hurt yourself? The most sincere and cruel care I'd ever heard. Chapter 7. On the third day of our silent war, it happened to be Ryan's birthday. In the end, I agreed to attend the family dinner. His parents had always liked me until things were truly over. I couldn't let the conflict spill up to them. After dinner, his mother solemnly slipped the family heirloom bracelet onto my wrist. My first instinct was to pull away, but under everyone's expectant gazes, I froze. I looked to Ryan, hoping he'd say something. He only smiled, gripping my hand, not letting go even as we left. Why didn't you stop her? I asked, staring at the heavy bracelet that fit so perfectly I couldn't take it off. Stop what? You're the daughter-in-law of this family. No question. He leaned over to fasten my seatbelt, stealing a kiss. All right. It's been days now. Enough. Today's my birthday. Don't fight me anymore. I stayed quiet. He slumped over me, half teasing, half pleading. My only birthday wish this year is to marry you. I closed my eyes, stroking the ornate bracelet, surrendering for one fleeting moment, to let myself go, not dig deeper. Later, at his friend's party in a villa, we had barely drunk one round before Diana appeared, smiling brightly. Happy birthday, Ryan. Ryan glanced at me awkwardly, seeing I gave no sign. He nodded. Sit wherever. Though uninvited, she blended into his circle instantly. His friends had always been polite yet distant with me, but with her they laughed like old companions. From across the crowd, she shot me a smug glance until her eyes landed on my wrist. Then her expression twisted, mad with hatred. Since it's Ryan's birthday, I brought a gift too. Later, while Ryan toasted, Diana approached me with a USB drive. This wedding plan, you liked it. I'm giving it to you both. No need. Keep it for your dreams. And how do you know it's only my dream? Her words stabbed deep. I remembered Ryan's face when he saw her projected wedding design. Everyone knew his reaction had been genuine. Years ago, Ryan's parents tore us apart when we loved each other most. That's why he can never let me go. She traced her fingers over the bracelet on my wrist. Beautiful. Back then, I only lacked this. But you? This is all you have. She leaned close, whispering, "Want me to prove it?" Before I could react, she yanked hard. In her shrill scream, my body lost balance and we both fell into the pool. Normally, I could swim a few meters, but caught off guard. With my injured ankle, I swallowed water in a panic. Through blurry water, I saw Ryan dive straight for Diana. My heart sank as deep as my body. Just as darkness closed in, an arm pulled me up, dragged me ashore. It was Sebastian. He had hovered all night, clearly wanting to apologize, though I hadn't given him the chance. But really, what was there to apologize for? He and Ryan had jumped at the same time, yet he went straight for me. Because he knew Ryan would always choose Diana. Someone had to save me. Sure enough, Ryan bent over Diana, ready to give her CPR. Never once glancing at me, Sebastian climbed out, threw me a towel, then kicked Ryan. Enough. 2 minutes underwater won't kill anyone. For the first time, Ryan's friends treated me with genuine care. They draped clothes over me, helped me up, not for me, but maybe because they pitied the fiancé left to drown. When Diana finally opened her eyes, Ryan came back to himself. "I'm sorry. I thought you could swim." I thought, but his excuse died. My wrist bled beneath the heirloom bracelet. I tore it off and set it aside. You'd better wish for something else this year. Chapter 8. Then I shoved Ryan away, stormed up to Diana, grabbed her by the hair, and slammed her straight into the pool. A huge splash erupting in the water. The crowd gasped in shock. Everyone hurried closer, some reaching out to pull her up. Ryan, however, just stood there stunned, still clutching that bracelet, unable to react. I barked sharply. No one is allowed to save her. She dragged me into the pool once. I'm only returning the favor. Diana, if you're so desperate to die, then just drown already. For a moment, the crowd glanced at Ryan, then back at me, and unbelievably, no one dared to move. Diana choked on several mouthfuls of water, and when she realized that no one was going to help her, she had no choice but to flail and swim to the edge herself. Ryan stared blankly. "Since when do you know how to swim?" By then, I was far too disgusted to stay another second. I walked out of the villa and flagged down a cab on the street. The driver asked me where I was headed. I sat in silence for a long time, unable to think of a destination. 7 years ago, fresh out of college, when I first arrived in the city with no family or friends, I had stood at a busy intersection, staring at the endless flow of traffic, not knowing where to go. For years, I stumbled forward alone, biting down hard and carrying the weight myself. By the time I finally earned a decent place in life, I met Ryan. He was a local with a privileged background, radiating an ease and confidence I had never known. Just a small share of that from him felt like oxygen to me, like a deep breath after nearly drowning. I was grateful beyond measure, and foolishly, I clung to that yearning for forever. Out of pride, I insisted on matching his down payment for the apartment, even though it nearly drained all my savings. That insistence earned the elders' respect. When we signed the housing contract together amidst everyone's blessings, I truly believed I had finally found a home in the city. But in the end, I still have nowhere to return. Just drive. I told the cabbie, maybe once we're on the road, I'll know where to go. Chapter 9. My sudden visit startled my best friend so much that she shrieked. "What are you doing here?" She spread her arms nervously, trying to block the wide stretch of fabric behind her. Don't look. Don't look. Ugh. The surprise is ruined." But when I looked past her, I saw it clearly, a wedding quilt, stitched needle by needle, magnificent and lifelike, nearly finished except for the corners. "This is," my throat tightened. Suddenly, I couldn't bring myself to ask, "Well, since you've already seen it, So be it. Anyway, it's yours. My best friend's fingertips gently traced the embroidered phoenix feathers, her expression brimming with pride. I started half a year ago. My fingers are practically pierced through by now. Do you like it? Back in our hometown, when a girl gets married, her family always prepares a quilt like this for her. My heart twisted in agony. The emotion rose like deep water, drowning me, suffocating. Yet no sound escaped my lips. The shame of being abandoned in front of everyone could not compare to the blunt pain of guilt I felt in this moment. I should never have tried to justify a love that was already flawed. Never should have deceived myself beneath the weight of everyone's eager expectations. It's one thing to ruin myself, but how could I betray the sincerity of those who only wanted me to be happy? This heavy, genuine love, was it meant for me to settle for something merely suitable? Something that only looked appropriate? Earlier, in the face of so many pitying, sympathetic stares, I still managed to straighten my back and stand. But now, looking at my best friend's joyful, expectant face, I finally crumbled, collapsing to the ground, crying until I couldn't stop. Chapter 10. I didn't reject Ryan's call. When it connected, I cut off his rushed apology and asked directly, "Do you want the house? Or the money?" He froze for several seconds. What? The house we bought together, we need to settle it somehow. If you want money, I'll keep the house and pay back your share. If you want the house, that works too. We can discuss it and then handle the paperwork. Ryan's voice was disbelieving. Luna, are you trying to split everything? Can't you calm down? I swear I didn't mean for things to happen like that. I was confused. I lost my head. Ryan, besides the house, I don't want to talk about anything else with you. Think it over and let me know. Either way is fine. On the other end, only silence, long, stifling silence, trembling with breath. I wouldn't wait. I'm hanging up. Wait. His voice cracked. Come home first. Let's talk face to face. The next evening after work, I returned home. The house was bright. Every light turned on. The table set neatly with 3 dishes and a soup. The air warm with fragrance, like every ordinary weekend night we once shared. Ryan walked out from the kitchen as if nothing had happened. You're back. Sit down. Let's eat. I faltered a little, but sat anyway. Maybe, just a farewell dinner. He ladled soup into my bowl and nodded toward the entryway. There's a package at the door. I brought it in for you. I glanced at the box without much thought. Thanks. The meal was quiet, too quiet. Only when the last dish was gone did he finally set his chopsticks down. Luna, isn't this enough? I want to live with you. I want to cook for you all my life. He struggled to explain. What I feel for Diana, it's just leftover restlessness from when we were young. I never wanted to be with her. I only hoped she'd live safely, even if far from me. Is that really so wrong? Why must you cling to this? Ryan, adults judge actions, not intentions. And your actions toward her, I've seen them all. No, it's not love. It's just, he groped for words. A habit. Yes, a habit. I can change. I can change. Fine. Let's say you don't love her, but she loves you. Can't you see that? I paused. Then the truth struck me. No, you do see it. You're deliberately letting her love you. You can't bear the thought of her not loving you. Ryan fell silent. His face drained of color. Men are too greedy. They want steady comfort, but also the fire of passion. And me? I wanted to be both his steady flow of years and his unforgettable flame. Why should the world's expectations of love be so low? Why can't the scarlet mark in the white moonlight be one and the same? I pushed the house toward him. Keep it. I'll move out. We bought it for you. Anyway, I still have an apartment. Renting would cost you too much. Don't worry. I'm not short on money. You can pay me back slowly. He muttered the rest of the arrangements, then ran out of words. Got it. Thanks. He stood, hesitated, then said softly, I'll wash the dishes. I pressed his hand down. Ryan, let's end it here. He looked at me, nodded, picked up his jacket, and walked to the door in a daze. Ryan. He turned, eyes lighting up with sudden hope. I pointed at him. You're still wearing the apron. He lowered his head, fumbled at the straps, the jacket slipping to the floor. After a long struggle, I had to get up, untie it for him, and walk him out. The door shut again. Silence. I stood there for a while, empty inside. My gaze fell on the box by the shoe cabinet. I sliced it open with a cutter. Invitations. Red envelopes. Wedding stickers spilled everywhere across the cold tile floor. Under the bright light, the red glare was blinding. I stared for a long time, but had no strength to clean it up. Staggering to my feet, I went to the bedroom. Chapter 11. Afterward, I tried to raise funds everywhere, wanting to end all financial ties with Ryan as soon as possible. But Diana showed up first. She looked shocked to see me, her eyes sweeping over my pajamas, her voice full of resentment. I knew it. You're still here. Where's Ryan? How would I know? I asked, baffled. Diana didn't listen. She shoved me aside and barged into the apartment, checking each room one by one. Ryan? Come out. I know you're here. How long are you going to hide from me? He's not here. Watching her frenzy, I reminded her calmly. We've already broken up. Impossible. I clearly saw his car drive in. When she couldn't find him, she turned on me like a blade. So you do know you're broken up, then how dare you live in his house? Who are you trying to fool? Clinging to him like this? Miss, this is my house. I enunciated each word so she would understand. I bought it. Diana sneered, skeptical. You, able to buy a place like this? No way. This is Ryan's house. Want me to show you the deed? My patience snapped. If you don't leave, I'll call security. The property staff came quickly, but Diana twisted the situation, shouting, I came to my boyfriend's place. How can you make me leave? Isn't Ryan one of your owners here? The staff glanced at me awkwardly. Strictly speaking, I hadn't finished the transfer process with Ryan yet. Technically, half of this house was still his. Miss Luna and Mr. Ryan are both our property owners. The staff explained. Saying you know him isn't proof. Make a call. Diana glared, then pulled out her phone to call Ryan, dialing over and over. But he never answered. I tried with my own phone. After one ring, the call connected. Luna, what's wrong? Hearing Ryan's voice through my phone, Diana's face drained of all color. Chapter 12. Ryan arrived faster than I expected. He directly told the guards to throw Diana out, then even added, keep an eye out. Don't let her in to bother my girlfriend again. Diana's eyes widened, full of disbelief, glaring at him until the door shut in her face. Sorry, Ryan sighed, helpless. I didn't expect her to be this crazy now. I told her clearly I wouldn't be with her, but I was curious about something else. Why did she come here to look for you? Since our breakup, Ryan hadn't bothered me, only once. When he asked about moving his things, I chose a time when I wouldn't be home, so we didn't meet. Strictly speaking, tonight was the first time we had seen each other since. Ryan said quietly, sometimes, when I can't sleep at night, I come by. If I see the lights on, I feel at ease. When they go dark, I can finally sleep. I hadn't expected that answer, and for a moment, I didn't know what to say. From here, the floor isn't high. I can see the flowers on the balcony. They're growing so well. I never thought something so ordinary before would become something I could only miss. Suddenly, he held my hand, his voice soft. Luna, we used to be so good. How did it change so quickly? I've told her it's over. I swear I'll never have anything to do with her again. Can't we go back? If you just say yes, everything will be like before. I don't want to lose you. I want to come home. I realized that perhaps my delay in handling the finances had given him hope. He thought if he coaxed me, everything could return to what it once was. But I knew better. There was no going back. I don't want the house anymore. I'll move out as soon as possible. Just give me back my money, and we'll finalize the transfer. Ryan's eyes widened in panic. Give it up? Are you crazy? Why give it up? You're not from here. Do you know how hard it is to buy property here? Of course I was reluctant to part with a house I'd chosen myself, but honestly, this space meant for a family of 3 was beyond my own means. Between repaying Ryan's share of the down payment and the crushing mortgage, it was unsustainable. I don't want it. I don't want to live in a place where you can show up anytime. His face darkened, his voice dropped. I don't want the house. I want you. Ryan, I cut him off. Can't we end things peacefully? Ryan lowered his head, silent for a long while, then muttered, almost sulking, I don't have the money. I know you don't have that much. But your parents do. With this location, they wouldn't lose. Ryan looked uneasy. Then a thought struck me. Don't tell me, you still haven't told your parents we broke up? Chapter 13. Ryan was adamant. He said that even if his parents knew the truth, they would never give him money to split the house. When I suggested we simply sell the house and divide the proceeds, he refused outright. I was so furious my hands were trembling. The house was under both our names. Without Ryan's cooperation, I couldn't divide it. I began to suspect that his earlier suggestion that I keep the house was nothing more than a stalling tactic. He knew I couldn't raise that much money in a short time, and meanwhile he'd have the chance to make me change my mind. He was even so certain that he hadn't changed the wedding date. Except for a few friends in the know, his family and relatives still thought everything was perfectly normal. After going over everything in my head, I decided to look for Sebastian. That villa party had been organized by him for Ryan. There were cameras by the pool. As the host, he bore at least some responsibility. To be honest, facing Sebastian made me feel ashamed. The thought of how I had flaunted my love during wedding preparations, while his friends, including him, must have laughed at me behind my back, left me burning with humiliation. Especially Sebastian. I couldn't help but resent them for standing by, watching my humiliation like a spectacle. After the breakup, I cut them all off out of spite. Now, having to reach out again, the situation was awkward. Thank you for saving me that day. I knew saying it so late was almost meaningless. But what else could I do? I needed a natural way to open the conversation. I'd like to buy you dinner. Sebastian looked both shocked and uneasy. He scratched his head, hesitated for a long while, then finally blurted out 3 words. I'll treat you. Chapter 14. Sebastian, tense but polite, humored me through the awkward small talk. Only when I revealed my real purpose did he drop the act. His sharpness returned, his eyes wary. You want the surveillance footage from the pool that day? What are you planning, suing her? I shook my head immediately. Compared to me, Sebastian was closer to Diana. If I mentioned suing her, he would never help. Besides, in a private villa like his, even if the police showed up, one simple claim, the cameras were broken, and nothing could be done. And all of Ryan's friends had been there that day. Not a single one would testify for me, nor did I want to waste my energy on pointless disputes. I could go through the courts, but the process would be too slow. I just don't want to stay entangled with him any longer. When he stayed silent, I pressed gently. Once he and I are separated, he can finally be with Diana. Isn't that what you want too? Sebastian's expression faltered, a flicker of embarrassment crossing his face. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry. I was just spouting nonsense that day. Don't take it to heart. Then give me the footage, please? I interrupted. I promise I won't hurt anyone. He studied me for a long moment before murmuring. And what about you? What? I didn't understand. Nothing. His eyes flickered away as he took a sip of water. If you've really thought this through, I'll help you. The next day, Sebastian handed me a USB drive with the footage. He must have watched it too. His expression was apologetic. Diana was gone for years. I never imagined she'd be so extreme now. He paused, then added, Ryan probably didn't expect it either. I didn't know if he was trying to reason with me or comfort me. I didn't care. I only reminded him. I hope this doesn't ruin your friendship with Ryan. Sebastian smiled faintly. Luna, being too upright in this world only gets you hurt. Don't worry about me. It's a debt I owe you. After today, you probably won't want to see me again anyway. His gaze carried a fleeting sadness before he smiled once more. I wish you happiness. Thank you. I couldn't help but wonder, since when were Sebastian and I on terms where we exchanged that kind of blessing? Chapter 15. After watching the video, Ryan's face turned pale. His fists clenched tightly as he shouted at Diana. You really did this on purpose? What the hell are you doing? Diana flinched in fear but stubbornly replied. I just wanted you to see your own heart clearly. He turned his head away in despair, slammed the table hard, and roared, Get out! Diana's tears spilled immediately. She bit her trembling lips, cast me a hateful glance, and ran out. I'm sorry, Luna, I really didn't know she would go that far. I didn't come to clear up the truth. I cut off Ryan's apology. I just want the most effective way to end everything. Ryan stared at me in shock. What do you mean? If this video is released, Diana, who works in the wedding industry, will be seen as deliberately sabotaging a client's relationship. Forget her current job. She'll never work in that field again. And for your family, their reputation is worth far more than just a house. If I show this to your parents, they'll understand me and prefer to settle. My demands are simple. I only want back what belongs to me. Ryan shot to his feet, looking at me as if I had stabbed him in the back. You're threatening me? You want to leave me so badly that you're willing to threaten me? I'm just showing you that I'm serious. I paused, lowered my voice. Serious about leaving you. Ryan slumped back down, covered his eyes, and stayed motionless for a long time. Chapter 16. Everything afterward went surprisingly smoothly. Soon I received the money for Ryan's share of the house. He even included the appreciation margin, giving me quite generously. When we went together to complete the transfer paperwork, I noticed injuries on Ryan's face and couldn't help asking, "Did your father hit you?" Ryan shook his head with a stony expression, clearly unwilling to explain. At the very end, as he held the pen above the final signature line, he hesitated for a long time. What is it? Nothing. He forced a bitter smile and slowly wrote the date. Today was supposed to be our wedding day. Chapter 17. I've heard so many stories of people fighting tooth and nail just to have their name added to a property deed. Who would have thought that erasing my own name from one could feel just as bone-deep painful? Hoping to spend a lifetime with someone is beautiful, but if he's not the right person, why risk it? After settling everything with Ryan, I bought a smaller place. The down payment was manageable, the mortgage harmless, and most importantly, it was in my name alone. I finally no longer had to rely on anyone. On moving day, friends and colleagues helped me with a warm housewarming that lasted the whole night. Later, when my best friend stayed over, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, gazing at the moon, and suddenly remembered Sebastian's awkward words, "I wish you happiness." Unconsciously, I smiled. This, right now, is happiness. Chapter 18. Sebastian. When Sebastian handed Luna the video, he already knew he was in for a beating. He didn't fight back for the first 2 punches. By the third, he instinctively blocked, which only made Ryan keep swinging. Finally his temper flared too, and what began as a beating turned into a full brawl. They both ended up sprawled on the ground. Exhausted, Ryan shouted hoarsely, "Why the hell are you interfering? What's between her and me is none of your business." Sebastian roared back louder. "She came to me because you left her no choice. If you don't love her, why don't you let her go?" "Who said I don't love her?" Ryan rolled over, straddled him, and swung again, though his punches had lost their force. His words were still defiant. It's your damn nonsense that filled her head, made her overthink, and drove us to break up. Sebastian had no energy left and no heart to strike back. He knew he bore some responsibility. At last Ryan collapsed against him, sobbing, "You bastard, you ruined my whole life." Sebastian felt wrongly accused but, seeing Ryan's genuine despair, didn't argue. It wasn't until a passerby spotted them, eyes wide in alarm, secretly lifting a phone to record, that Sebastian hastily shoved Ryan off and turned his own body to block him from view. He didn't want Ryan's humiliation splashed online. Ryan later declared their friendship over, but only a few days after. The money he paid Luna actually came through Sebastian. Ryan had guessed right, his parents wouldn't spend a single cent to fund his breakup. When news spread at home that the wedding was cancelled, he was beaten down by his family, and the authority and shares he was supposed to receive after marriage would likely be withdrawn. Ever since an old episode of running away from home with Diana, his parents had kept a tight leash on his finances. The house they bought wasn't under his name. His cars were replaced every 3 years, decent, but never flashy. Whenever he wanted to invest, he had to pitch to them as if he were seeking venture capital. It was pitiful, in a way, but compared to other spoiled rich kids burning through cash in extravagance, Ryan had always been diligent. The classic economical and reliable man. That's how he ended up winning over Luna. Ryan never spelled it out, but as he grew older, he was less flamboyant than in his youth. So Sebastian couldn't be sure, was Luna the woman he truly loved, or just a bargaining chip to gain his parents' approval? Probably love. After all, his parents had introduced countless heiresses, but Ryan hadn't liked any. Luna must have been the rare overlap between his and his parents' tastes in nearly 30 years. That was precious. A muddled marriage would have suited everyone, until Diana came back. That old, long silent WeChat suddenly lit up with a post, back in the country. At the reunion, when Ryan heard her name, he froze for a long time. He lost every round of cards that night. Luna thought he was upset about losing, soft-voiced as she comforted him, even helping him play his hand. Ryan let her take his seat at the table, while he slipped off to the balcony to make a phone call, couldn't even wait to teach her the rules. That call lasted a long time. Cigarettes were lit one after another. Luna assumed it was work. Sebastian knew the truth. The voice on the other end was Diana, watching Luna, clueless yet earnestly trying to cover for him among his rowdy friends. A strange thought crossed Sebastian's mind. If it were me, I'd never treat her this way. Perhaps out of sympathy, he subtly fed her cards that night, quietly coaxing her along the whole evening. Chapter 19. The amount Ryan prepared for Luna was calculated to perfection, enough to look like compensation, but not so much as to be excessive. A little more, and Luna might have insisted on returning the surplus. That kind of generosity was something Ryan had to fake, even without money. So Sebastian hurriedly sold a bunch of stocks to patch up Ryan's shortfall. Most people say it's better to break 10 temples than to break up one marriage, but Sebastian was like a stirring stick, poking his way inside and out of someone else's breakup. When Ryan took the bank card, he looked at Sebastian with a strange, meaningful expression and muttered, "Sometimes I wonder if you're doing this on purpose. Damn it, don't even think about paying me back." Sebastian laughed and cursed to cover it up, but only he knew how guilty he felt inside. He had always thought his occasional attention to Luna was just sympathy, perhaps tinged with guilt for being Ryan's accomplice, until the day she fell into the pool, when her whole body sank. The panic inside him shocked even himself. That day she was drenched, her face streaked with water and tears, her gaze toward Ryan utterly shattered, and within him, thin strands of pain quietly unraveled. When he saw her stubbornly trying to rip off that bracelet, even tearing into her own flesh, he nearly spent all his strength to keep himself from rushing forward to stop her self-destructive act, to take her away. But since Ryan didn't move, he had no right to move either. That restraint, all along, was the ultimate proof of his loyalty to 20 years of friendship. After Luna left, Ryan at first pretended to be tough, saying it was nothing, just a quarrel, that he could coax her back. But Sebastian knew it wasn't that simple, because even he had been blocked. When Luna later came to him, he knew it wasn't for nothing, but he couldn't bear to expose her purpose. After all, what other chance would he ever have for her to come to him first? To ask him out to dinner? As if she already knew that in his position he wouldn't help her without reason. She stressed over and over that she wouldn't hurt Diana or Ryan. What he really wanted to say was, "It's okay if you hurt them a little. They already owe you." Ryan would probably even prefer to be hurt by her, rather than see her so desperate to leave, because hurt still means ties exist. But when you insist on being two separate strangers, there is never any way back. Chapter 20. Diana made another scene. This time she went live on her social media, cutting her wrists one line after another, forcing Ryan to show up. Nearly breaking down, Ryan rushed to save her, brought her to the hospital, and when he came out, he made a statement: "Don't ever tell me anything about Diana again, even if she dies. Don't come to me." Again and again she pushed herself to the edge, trying to test Ryan's feelings, forgetting that human nature cannot endure endless trials. The wolf had come too many times. Ryan no longer believed. One day, Diana called Sebastian, her voice choked with sorrow and despair. "So, does this mean he doesn't love me anymore?" Sebastian had no words. He thought Ryan's instinctive concern for Diana in moments of crisis was genuine. Yes, but a crisis is not daily life, and in daily life, no one wants to live in constant torment. A lover of the past, if kept forever in memory, might still shine like a white moonlight. But when she returns again and again, pressing too close, she turns instead into a bitter grievance. At that moment, Ryan could only regret ever getting entangled with a madwoman. Looking back, it turned out the elder's sharp eyes had been right all along. They had seen from the very beginning that Diana was never a good match. Luna's departure left Ryan in shambles. His first love was gone, his wedding cancelled, his credit cards frozen, and his parents, disappointed and furious, threw him out of the house. Once, he summoned the courage to call Luna, wanting only to ask how she had been. Her long unheard voice came through the line, cool and distant. "Hello? Who is this?" Ryan froze. His throat tightened. He could not utter another word. From then on, he sank into despair. Sebastian kept urging him to go back to work, mainly so he could pay back the debt sooner. One night, Ryan asked Sebastian to join him for drinks. Following the address, Sebastian arrived only to realize it was the apartment Ryan and Luna once shared. For Ryan, this home had become a prison of memories, a place he refused to leave. But for Sebastian, it was the first time he'd stepped into Luna's little world. Every detail, every corner was fresh and vivid. The color of the curtains, the cushions on the sofa, each stroke of paint, they were the fragments of her ideal life. Looking around, he felt a pang of regret. If it had been him, he would have guarded all this carefully, never letting the world she created fall into ruin, never dimming her light. Yet here it was, clouded by Ryan's drunken haze. Unable to bear it, Sebastian kicked the half-conscious Ryan with a curse. "You ungrateful bastard." The night deepened. Moonlight poured through the windows, spilling silver across the floor. Sebastian stepped onto the balcony, his whole body bathed in that glow. He inhaled the faint fragrance of flowers, and a thought rose unbidden. "I wonder, what is Luna doing right now?"